Hi crew, I know you guys are at Fit Club, so I took the opportunity just to do a couple of videos while you were there. So just a couple of reminders, you're all doing exceptionally well, but just a couple of reminders, you need to get your meal plans in, guys. We can't help you if we don't know what you're eating. That is absolutely imperative for us to tweak a little bit here and there. Most of you don't have to make drastic changes. A lot of you though are not quite eating enough, so you need to make sure that you get your meal plans to us at least by Sunday of each week, please. Weigh-ins also, I'm seeing a few pictures of scales up on the page, but not as many as what I should, so don't be afraid to put your scales up. Post pictures of your food. I don't tend to as much because I eat pretty much the same thing, so mine are a little bit boring. I might put some different shakes up this week, but other than that, keep putting your food up. It's really good to see all the healthy eating, so that's fantastic. Another thing, we're going to do the Walk the You-Yangs on Sunday morning. I think we're going to schedule it for about 8 o'clock, but Daryl and Lydia and the guys will announce it tonight anyway. So if you're in, please chuck a little note on the post. We'll probably meet down the bottom like we did last time, walk all the way up, do the 5K track, and then back down again. So, you know, it took about an hour or so last time. Not sure whether we're going to go for breakfast afterwards. If a few of you want to, that's fine. I'm not sure whether Daryl and I are going to have time. So we might have to skip that one this Sunday, but we'll see how we go. Okay, so topic for tonight is fats. So we're going to talk about good and bad fats, and just the lowdown on why they're necessary in your diet. Okay, so I am going to read from my notes because I don't want to get this stuff mixed up. Let me just have a tea. And I'll try and keep this as short as possible. Okay, so I will read though. So the issue of dietary fat is probably one that confuses most people. Should you eat as little fats as possible? More of the good fats, of course. The answer lies somewhere in between. Ideally, you want to eat only the amount that you need to add flavor to your food. And of the fats you eat, you want to select the healthiest ones. All fats, regardless of their source, are about 120 calories a tablespoon. So most people can't and shouldn't eat them freely. All right. So here are some things to remember. Fats are categorized as saturated, polyunsaturated, and monounsaturated, depending on the predominant fatty acid they contain. Polyunsaturated fats can be good or bad, depending on whether they are primarily omega-6 fats, which is pro-inflammatory, or omega-3, which is anti-inflammatory, hence why we should be having copious amounts of omega-3, and you can have that in a supplement as well. Omega-3 and omega-6 fatty acids are called essential, meaning our bodies can't make them and must obtain them from our dietary sources. So on average, people only eat a third of the recommended daily intake of these essential fatty acids, the building blocks of all cells in the human body. So if you're lacking, and most of us will be lacking in omega-3, I know it's something that I add to my shakes if I remember, but I do cook with it as well. Our diet is typically overloaded with omega-6 fatty acids from cooking oils with inadequate amounts of omega-3. This imbalance with too many bad fats relative to good fats promotes the inflammatory process in the body and increases the risk of free radical damage. Monounsaturated fats found in olive oil and avocado have neutral effects on cholesterol and do not promote cancer. These fats are healthy fats and can be eaten in moderation still, okay, so don't go overdosing on them. Olive oil is a healthy oil for cooking. If the flavor is too strong for you, you can purchase light olive oils, which have the same calories as regular olive oil but are lighter in flavor. So I'm just going to go through some tips here to reduce your fat intake. So try using cooking sprays when you saute foods, or you can saute in wine or stock. This is something that I do. We quite often use a spray. Use low fat or reduced fat versions of a high fat item, such as dairy products, spreads or dressings. If you're watching calories, keep in mind that low-fat or fat-free versions of baked goods are often the same amount of calories as the full-fat version, and in many cases, fat is replaced with sugar, which drives up the calories. So hence when I talk about milk, you might as well just have the real stuff, okay? As long as you're not drinking litres and litres of it. Avoid fatty meat such as steaks, high-fat mince meats, chops and sausages. Eat more poultry, breast, fish, shellfish, egg whites, low-fat dairy products and soy products for protein, which have much less fat than red meats, but do have some red meat though for your iron, especially you girls, all right? Avoid farmed salmon if possible. Farmed salmon is fattier than wild salmon, but the extra fat it contains is not the good fat. Despite myths to the contrary, shellfish is not high in cholesterol and is an excellent source of protein that is very low in fat. Flavour your foods with herbs, spices, lemons, onions, garlic, chilies and other seasonings rather than rely on heavy sauces, garlics and butter, gravies and butter. When you eat out, to make smart choices, keep sauces and gravy to a minimum and order meat, fish or poultry grilled, poached, steamed, roasted or baked. Some people skip the starchy part of the meal, especially if it is likely to be fatty, and order double vegetables instead. So that's always a good tip as well. Order salad dressing on the side. You guys have heard me say that before. So if you have, say, I'm trying to think, I quite often eat salmon when we're out. And quite often it comes on a bit of rice, that's okay, but if you don't get the sauce on the side, it's literally drowned in it. Normally a white sauce, which has got lots of butter and milk and oil in it. So try and avoid those. Put it on the side. You actually get more, but you'll eat less. All right. Try fresh fruit or sorbet for dessert rather than pastries or ice cream. Or if it's your cheat night, have a dessert. When we go out, which we don't do that often anymore, I'll always have sticky date if it's on the menu. It's our treat that we do. So I figure, why not? Just make sure though that the whole meal is not a whole cheat meal. You want to at least be a little bit good. All right. All right, let's go over. So good and bad fats. So we're going to talk about omega-3s and omega-6s. So of the many types of fatty acids, two that seem to be making all the headlines these days are omega-3 and omega-6. These names simply describe the chemical structure of fats, but you only need to remember the omega-3s tend to reduce inflammatory in the body. Omega-6 tends to promote inflammation in the body. Okay, so omega-3s are found in fish, flaxseed, and linseed oil. I've got flaxseed in our cupboard and have had since for about 5-6 years now, since Roger had recommended that I add it to my food. Both of these are really important, and a healthy ratio between the two determines health. So the change in the food supply has dramatically changed the process. Most cows in the United States are non-corn fed to fatten them up faster for production, as this process is not what nature intended. So once again, I find a disruption in nature's delicate balance. And this is why I say to you guys, as natural as the item is, so it's not, like your low fat, not this fat, not that fat, not whatever fat milk. You need to make sure that the more processing it goes through, okay, the more human hands are on it, the less of anything that's got in it, okay? Different if you have allergies and things like that, and you need to make sure that, I know Larissa struggles with a lot of foods, that you can't have certain things in it, like if you're lactose intolerant or whatever have you, you need to stay away from those sorts of things. But my thing is, if I'm going to have milk, I don't even have skinny cappuccinos much these days. I'll just say skinny cappuccino because it's habit now. I literally can't taste the difference, but if I'm going to have a coffee, I might as well have a good one. All right, I don't have them every day much, so yeah, I figure I might as well have a good one. So tips there: try and increase your omega-3s, less omega-6s. Have your food, your sauces on the side. So this is dressings and sauces and gravies on the side when you go out. Really have a look at your menu. We might go through a few menus next time I do a video, because it is hard when you go out to decipher what's good and what's not. You need to know the definitions of how the foods are cooked, but you get used to it, okay? Stick to your salads. Thai beef salad's always a good one. Salmon's always a good one. Any type of fish, as long as it's not fried. So get it steamed or grilled. What else do I normally have? Chicken, any chicken dish, as long as you have your sauce on the side, which is awesome. And I think that's about it. So remember your meal plans, guys. It's getting really frustrating that we're not seeing what you're eating. Results are small, okay, and that's because we can't help you, okay? You're trying to wing it, all right? So get those meal plans in, all right? We're seeing, you know, a couple 100 grams here, a couple 100 grams there in weight losses, or none at all. So if you want, I think we're up to week 5 now, so we've got 5 weeks to go. Let's make the run into Christmas a really good one. All right, okay, I'm gonna sign out, and I'll do a couple more of these tonight, which I'll post up later. Okay, all right, bye.